What's up, guys? Hey, we had some big fights last night, and some were amazing. Unfortunately, the main event was a bit of a snoozer, but don't blame Aaron Blanchfield. That was all on Fior. Chris Weidman got a win, but did he cheat? Strickland has made a huge tactical error when negotiating with the UFC. I'll expand on that. Joaquin Buckley is more than a highlight reel. This guy's an actual contender now. And Nate Landwehr, if you're not watching Nate Landwehr fights, you're missing out. This is one of the best, most entertaining fighters on the roster, period. But I'll get into all that and more, guys. Remember, subscribe. This is a new channel, and the more subscriptions you get, the more they push it out in the algorithm. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming here, and thank you for subscribing.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Let's start with former champion and one of my favorite fighters, Strickland. Strickland is one of the most popular fighters, and it's his authenticism. Is he a little crazy? Yeah, probably. But guess what? He's a little crazy. He's not faking it. He's much like the Diaz brothers, and I think that's why it resonates so much with fans is he's authentically a little bit crazy. But he made a huge tactical error. He desperately wants a rematch for that title. He thinks he actually beat Dricus du Plessis in Canada, which he might have. It was really close. I mean, I could see the scores going either way. I think when I scored it live, I think I had du Plessis, but it was close. I wasn't sure if they would have given it to Strickland. It was one of those fights that's that close. And usually you have to have the title for a significant amount of time before you get an immediate rematch. If he had 1, 2, 3, 4 title defenses, yeah, he can get an immediate rematch. But they're kind of held for champions like Valentina Shevchenko, Israel Adesanya, Anderson Silva, people who've had that title for an extended period of time. They get an immediate rematch. BJ Penn. But when you have it and you lose your first defense, typically you have to go get another win before you can come back and fight for that title. Now, Sean doesn't agree. He thinks he won the fight. He wants it. And I always tell people, if you want to raise at your job, if you have an issue with something at your job, bring up the issue, bring up the facts. When you go to the I'm quitting, I'm leaving, you have just pulled the hand grenade. You have just put your employer in a bad situation. You will, even if you get what you want, they remember that and they will be making a backup plan. So forever as long, if you ever hold them at gunpoint like that, don't expect it to end well. It didn't end well for Randy Couture, Tito Ortiz. How many people have done this to the promotion? Has it ever worked out well? It hasn't. It really hasn't. When you hold your cards, they'll put you on ice. Guess what? As awesome as Strickland is and as popular as he is, he doesn't have as much power as the UFC in general. So that was a huge tactical error. I would have advised him not to do that. I would have advised him to go different routes and just keep pushing. But don't threaten to quit. Once you do that, it's just not a good way to get what you actually want. So I love watching women's fights. They're typically awesome. Erin Blanchfield almost always has exciting fights, and she tried her hardest. But the French girl, Fior, she just refused to engage. She just picked away. Hey, maybe that's what she had to do to win, but as a fan, I still didn't like it. And being that the title fight for her is a long ways away. First, you got to get through the Ultimate Fighter reality series with Shevchenko and Grasso. Then they have a fight. Then they have to make sure whoever wins is still healthy. So we're talking, if she doesn't fight again, we're talking maybe a year. So I just think it's a bad idea. What I want to see is I want to see her come in there and beat one more contender. Maybe do it with some style points. Leave me wanting to see her fight the winner of Grasso Shevchenko. Right now, if they book Grasso and her or Shevchenko and her, I don't really care. It's not something that's going to get me excited. She has to do more. And I know 12 wins and she's deserving. Unfortunately, the sport it's not always fair. Sometimes you have to do something dramatic to really get the fans, and that's a big part of this is selling the fight, and she's not selling the fight with that style, that counter-strike style. I can only imagine her and Valentina would be probably the worst, most boring fight ever. They would both stand there staring, waiting for the other one to go first, and nobody would go. Grasso could probably get a good fight out of her, but it's still not something I'm pining for. Get in there and fight somebody else. Tracy Cortez, who is one of the most underrated 125-pounders. This girl's awesome. She hasn't lost in the UFC. She has got heart, she's got wrestling, she's got stand-up, and she's had some good wins. The problem is Tracy Cortez doesn't fight enough. Tell you what, Fior, you're such a badass, you think you deserve a title shot, you should be able to walk through Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez, wherever you are, get out there, call out Fior. I don't know if that'll get Tracy a title shot, but that would solidify. If Fior can go in there and walk through Tracy, Tracy will give her an exciting fight. If she can walk through her, boom, title shot. If not, give it to Rose. So one of the prelim cards was pulled off right at the last minute. Dudikova had some sort of an illness. That's not good luck. This same girl had her last fight where she came out afterward and admitted to having a staph infection and said her ass was bleeding. Okay, so you broke the rules, you put people at risk in your last fight, and then this one you pull out seconds before the bout. That's a forfeit, guys. That's a forfeit. This should go down as a loss. Melissa Gatto, who's an absolute beast, which Tracy Cortez has a win over, she was going in there to fight. And if you pull out, 100%, I believe, if you pull out of a fight, day of fight, after weigh-ins, you should forfeit. Once you weigh in and agree, that's on. In any other sport, if you pull out before the event, that's a forfeit. So Joaquin Buckley, this guy's awesome. I thought Vicente Luque would handle him. He's a seasoned vet. He's got wins over some big names, and he is a beast out there. He got in with Joaquin Buckley, and Joaquin outclassed him in every aspect, standing, on the ground, wherever it was. Joaquin used to be known for that crazy, when the guy caught his kick and he threw his other leg up, that highlight reel knockout. He's got incredible athleticism that he looks to be fine-tuning, and now he's becoming a really good fighter. He's a contender at 170. Let's give him somebody higher up on the food chain. I would like to see Ian Gary, Colby Covington. One of these guys give Joaquin a shot. That's all he needs is a shot. If he can get another big win, we could get him in there for the title. If you're not watching Nate Landwehr's fights, every time I see him on a card, I pencil that in, and I will not miss a Nate Landwehr fight. This guy reminds me of Leonard Garcia, Diego Sanchez, Darren Elkins. There's some fighters that just come in there with reckless abandon. Listen, I don't advise it for your life or your medical career, or like how, listen, it doesn't end well for these guys, but damn do I appreciate the effort. They put on fights that just leave me just speechless, screaming, holy crap. However you feel about Nate Landwehr's skills, don't miss his fights. If he's ever on the card, mark it. You will get a good fight, guaranteed. Nate Landwehr, great job. I worry about you when your career's over, but clearly you're not worried, so I'm going to keep watching. So we saw former champion Chris Weidman out there, and he looked good. He didn't look like the old Weidman, but he looked much better than he did against Brad Tavares. But he's using the technique that John Jones always used, where you put your fingers out. Hey guys, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a rule that says you have to have your fingers up or closed. You cannot poke them. He repeatedly did this. He poked his opponent, Bruno Silva, in the eyes multiple times. The ref dropped the ball. The ref should have taken a point, warned, or disqualified Weidman. With that said, what they ended up doing is they did actually look at it. They redid it. It's not ruled a TKO because, he poked him. He put him down with not one. He looked like the Three Stooges out there, boop, 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 just poking in the eyes. He got him twice, put Bruno down, and then finished him because Bruno couldn't see. He just poked both eyes with both hands. I felt bad for Bruno. If you're not going to disqualify him, what you would do is if you call that unintentional, but I don't know how you can call it unintentional when it happened like 6 times in the fight. What you do is if it's unintentional, you go to the scorecards at that point, and they gave Weidman a decision win. So it's been changed from a TKO to a decision win. With that said, Weidman fought really good. He didn't need to do that, but he needs to work on those eye pokes. Like, I really think guys should get disqualified for eye pokes like that. If you don't get it, I know sometimes they're incidental, but that many times he made no effort to put the fingers up or fist. He was straight out. I mean, it was as bad as I've ever seen. It reminded me, like I said, of John Jones back when he used to do it all the time. So anyway, I was still glad to see Chris Weidman get through it okay and look awesome and fight his ass off. But he shouldn't have got the win. I think he probably should have got disqualified or at least no contest. Even though I wanted Weidman and had money on Weidman to win, I don't think it was fair to Bruno Silva. It is what it is. But hey guys, thank you for subscribing to this channel. I really appreciate it. I'll keep some videos coming and catch you guys later.